It's 3 in the morning. Girl, you know I want it. Been feeling so lonely. I pick up the phone and call you. Over, baby, to my place. During the course of this journey we call life, I've worn many hats. Depending on when you met me, I may have been a singer, songwriter, an entrepreneur with a music publishing company, fitness trainer, or an IT professional. On today's episode, I take you through every phase and detail my wins as well as my losses. Also find out how a Grammy Award and the multi-platinum singer Erykah Badu tie into the story. But with no further ado, here's how I ended up on the brink of disaster. Just when it seemed my life couldn't get any worse, I arrived at the post office to pick up a certified letter, and much to my surprise, it read, "You have been involuntarily recalled back to the United States Marine Corps per President George W. Bush." For those who don't know what a recall is, it's when the military calls you back to service in support of a war. I had to withdraw from college and report back to the military in 2 weeks. And I thought to myself, here we go again. It's funny how things that seem to be the worst turn out for the best. Who knew getting recalled back to the military would be such a blessing? The pay was much better than the first 4 years. I guess they were making amends for all the cheap labor we performed the first time around. That was a major turning point, and I took full advantage by almost saving every penny. In about 6 months, President Bush declared the war over, and I returned to Dallas feeling better than ever with cash in my pocket. This is the good part. I'm back, baby. I'm on the scene. I'm partying with my friends. I'm buying all the things I always wanted to buy but couldn't afford. Got a brand new place, decked it out, ladies sweating me, and it felt absolutely great. I saved most of the money and even got a new job with a pay raise, y'all. Cha-ching. Finally, the underdog was on the rise, and all the pieces seemed to be falling in place. Met a special girl, had a son, bought a house, got married. You know, the stuff that dreams are made of. It was picture perfect. Shortly after, I began to perform in a few local establishments, pursuing my dream of becoming an R&B superstar. I remember my first performance like yesterday. I was nervous as all get out and shaking like a leaf on a tree on the inside. My name was called to come to the stage, and my heart dropped through the floor. Looking at me from the outside, you'd never be able to tell though. I took a deep breath and proceeded to the stage. On stage, I felt like a deer in headlights. Looking out at the audience for the first time was a surreal experience. I thought about turning around, but I had come too far to back out now. I opened my mouth to start singing, and nothing came out at first. But then, it never really mattered too much to me that you were just too damn old for me. All that really mattered was you're my girlfriend, and baby, it's all that matters to me. And guess what, y'all? We rocked it. Performing there really boosted my confidence. I performed there several more times, and every time was just like the first. I was all set to release my debut album titled Are You Ready? And go on to be an R&B superstar. Only one problem. How do you start a label without a product. The music production was great, but the vocal performance and audio engineering left a lot to be desired. Here's a snippet from the album.
One Love Records, you know it's a hit. Monica dropped the ball. I just thought I'd let you know. Every time I see your face, I love you, baby. Let's go. Lay you down, then we gonna play around. You know what I want. Give it to me.
In between that time and my next venture, I actually auditioned for Star Search and American Idol, but it was cut well before the TV auditions. For my next venture, I teamed up with one of my old buddies from the Marine Corps. This time, we dived headfirst into music publishing. I'd done all the research and realized music publishing was very lucrative at the time. My man Tim was a phenomenal musician. He could deliver a finished product just like a one-man band. He did all the music, I did all the business. Have a listen. We saw a little success, even made money at times to put back into the business. But it was short-lived. Just when we started meeting the right people and making traction, life got in the way. Remember that perfect picture I told you about earlier? Well, that perfect picture started to show chinks in the armor. It turns out oil and water don't mix. My wife and I just couldn't get along. It got so bad that we'd go months without speaking. So what do you do when you can't get along and counseling doesn't work? You get divorced. That killed my drive and took a lot out of me. Ultimately, on my part, I'm sad to say, the second business died along with my marriage. Now, at the age of 30, with a failed marriage and 2 failed businesses, I felt like a total loser. I needed a change. I needed to get away from me. So I decided to dedicate myself to transforming my body. After so much failure, it felt good to finally be good at something. I gained 40 pounds of muscle in 4 months. That was a big transformation, y'all. People who hadn't seen me in a while didn't even recognize me. That's exactly what I wanted. And the ladies really took a liking like never before. And it felt really good. It was like living someone else's life. Got a new girlfriend out the deal too. Life settled down and returned to normal. But just like always, nothing lasts forever. The job I worked for the last 8 years went belly up. No need to panic. My new mentality gave me a new lease on life. Feeling optimistic, it was the perfect time to go full throttle in business. Since I received so much attention from my physical transformation, the natural progression was to become a personal trainer. Hey, that's it. Got certified 4 times over and set out to take over the fitness world. Mike Tyson famously quoted, "Everyone has a plan till you get punched in the mouth." Here comes the hook. Right before the start of the business, I had crashed and totaled my car. All the things in my business plan that I thought would work turned out to be easier said than done. That business would take me to some extreme lows that I'll never forget. Couple that with the remnants of a breakup with my girlfriend, and you got a recipe for disaster. Everything started off on the wrong foot. Over the course of the next 2.5 years, my house went in and out of foreclosure numerous times. I burned through the entire $20,000 I had in savings, and guess what, y'all? I was flat broke. I found myself in debt to the tune of almost $50,000 in loans and credit cards. I tried everything to get that business off the ground. I worked out shirtless in the median of a busy street across from a mall. My goal was to get on the news and, get exposure for my business. I had family and friends call the news station, but it all fell on deaf ears. I marketed at least 4 hours a day on the street just to meet my 200 people a day quota. Those were some crazy times, from women propositioning me for sex to being recognized all over the city as the guy who worked out in the median with his shirt off. I even made a custom billboard that floated above my head everywhere I went. You see that bridge up there? Well, I hung a homemade 20-foot banner that read harrisfit.net, hoping to get more exposure for my business. But it didn't work. And the police actually took it down right under my nose. That's another story. Seemed like I could never get enough exposure, at least the kind I was looking for. You name it, I probably tried it. Sadly, none of those things equated to dollars. Stuff would break down in my house and there was no money to fix anything. Plus, I crashed and totaled a second car less than 6 months later. And a few months after that, my ex-wife up and moved my son 14 hours away to Indianapolis. Not having a father really made me long to be a better father. So that one really hurt. I kid you not, I thought I was cursed or on a real life episode of Punk'd. How could this have happened again? I found myself back in the same place I worked so hard to get away from. And to top it off, I had missed paying taxes for several tax seasons and the IRS sent me a bill for about $19,000 in back taxes. I felt like I was going crazy. But there was a silver lining. By this time in life, I had taken some of the hardest shots that life could throw, and I was still standing. Time to devise a new plan. A friend of mine was interested in going into IT. He showed me the books, I read a little, went home, did some research, and I knew this would be my ticket. I bought the books the next day and spent the next 6 months teaching myself IT networking. That was a real challenge. Having no experience in IT, it was like learning a foreign language. I had to study at least 8 hours a day and cut back on training the few clients I had, among other things. That meant even less money made, which translated into eating 1 meal a day. That was a tough 6 months. Friends and family would say, so you're just gonna go from being a personal trainer to being in IT. Oh, okay. Never listen to the naysayers. I was determined at all costs to make a better life for myself and would have done just about anything to improve my situation. Thank God for mercy. But wouldn't you know it, just like before, there's always something lurking around the corner. Brace yourself, there's more. You think you know, but do you really know? Thank y'all for tuning in to Entrepreneurs 411. I hope you really enjoyed the show on the brink of disaster. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on Instagram at Entrepreneurs 411. Also like us on Facebook at The Entrepreneurs 411. All one word. I'm the host with the most, Kel Harris, signing off. Peace.